healthy, and safe day. Randy Wineglass going to talk today about how the white European, whatever you want to call it, dominance through the algorithms and technology today, whether it be Google algorithms, all right, dating algorithms, how these algorithms are just another way of weaponization against African Americans and those who align with African American culture. And again, the enemy doesn't care what your race is, he doesn't care what your culture is, as long as you have enough hatred in your spirit and in your soul, you can be utilized. All right. You can be an agent of his agenda. All right. So the enemy doesn't just use white people, doesn't just use, Hispanics, Latinos, or Asians or Indians. He can use black folks, right? Even people from our own community. All right. So don't get it twisted. So this is just exposing the enemy's tactics. All right. I notice when black content creators put out certain content, what's up, Lee? And if that content isn't facilitating or ushering in the agenda of the dominant society, a lot of times content creators who are people of color will get blacklisted, right? I mean, even look at some of these terms that they have to kind of indicate you being sort of banned, right? You get blacklisted, you get blackmailed, all right? So it's just obvious, right? The enemy has a thing for, you know, targeting and destroying, any sort of really like black influence that doesn't cater to sort of like the propaganda or the agenda of the dominant society, all right? And it's no different on YouTube and these Google algorithms. I was doing some research where there has been a lot of lawsuits where black content creators, they would get, either demonetized through YouTube, or, their videos and creative, channels who may have content that violate YouTube policies would get removed, whereas, their their white counterparts get to keep their accounts, right? They get to keep their YouTube accounts, and a lot of times they're doing some of the same things, right? So there is a bias in sort of like this, European dominance, even in the algorithms in YouTube, all right, and Google. So weaponizing truth in the algorithmic church. And what a lot of times what black people will do is they'll cater to the algorithm where they'll silence their voices. They'll minimize speaking to the black struggle and the black pain that's going on in our community, and they'll try to appease to the dominant society for the sake of being monetized, right? Whatever I got to do to fit in with these white folks and with the YouTube algorithm, I'll do it. Just don't demonetize me, right? That mindset is fucking weak. All right. If you're dependent on YouTube and you can't, as a man, go out here and fucking hustle and get it, you deserve to get your shit demonetized. All right. So it says, hey, what's up, good boy Vortex? I like your name because that's what a lot of these niggas do. They want to be good boys. So in the modern digital age, the illusion of freedom is sold as a product. Platforms like YouTube and Google promise open access, claiming algorithms are neutral arbiters of relevance and quality. Yet the same system, a silent priest of an algorithmic church. Gatekeepers decide who is seen, heard, or erased. Metrics such as click-through rates, watch time, and ad suitability become moral hierarchies that determine whose message deserves amplification. All right. No, I don't know. I don't know Sammy, the guy. Who's that? Beneath the surface, these metrics are not purely technical. They are socio-political mechanisms designed by humans, shaped by the dominant cultural worldview. Who the fuck you think created algorithms, right? It wasn't no niggas sitting on Dexter Avenue where I'm from in Detroit, right? A lot of it is coming from a lot of European, you know, Asiatic sort of like, you know who the fuck does it. A lot of these black people don't have a hand in the technicalities of these algorithms. Indians, a lot of people who hate blacks. Let's just be fucking honest, all right? So, what is saying? Metrics such as click-through rates, watch time, and ad suitability become moral hierarchies that determine whose message deserves amplification. Beneath the surface, these metrics are not purely technical. They are socio-political mechanisms designed by humans, shaped by the dominant cultural worldview, one that aligns with whiteness, elitism, and Western ideological supremacy. All right. What appears to be optimization is often a reflection of cultural bias coded in data. The engineers, advertisers, and executives behind these systems are overwhelmingly shaped by frameworks of power and aesthetics. Consequently, the algorithm's reward system mirrors society's racial hierarchy, uplifting content that comforts the mainstream while marginalizing content that challenges it. Lord forbid you niggas get on YouTube and you start challenging the system. They're going to blacklist your ass. Your views are going to go down. You're not going to get as much viewership. I'm looking on YouTube, these white folks sitting playing in their motherfucking toes, getting 100,000, 200,000. It's about algorithmic exposure. All right. And don't think these algorithms don't know if your ass is black. All right. If they can pick up on your content, they can pick up on your fucking face. It's called facial recognition, people. Now, I'm not saying all niggas are being submerged and not being seen. You got to play the role. All right. Why Ice Speed is so popular? Because he plays the fucking role. You don't see him on there talking about black people getting locked up at crazy rates, black police killings, lynchings, and you don't see him talking about a lot of socio-political shit. And look at the result. The motherfucker's thriving. So what that teaches other young people, I need to keep my damn mouth shut to win. I don't need to be touching on some of these topics. Just do what you got to do to be brand friendly, get this fucking money. I don't give a fuck about money. All right. God blessed me with my health. That's more important. We had a nanny who used to work with us and she left to go work with a billionaire. She couldn't even live long enough to enjoy her billions because she got cancer. She couldn't pay enough money for medical care, medical procedures, and she still died. And guess what? The money was left to her kids, and the kids are fucking fighting over it. So even if you got money, it ain't going to save you from having poor health. All right. Don't get it fucked up. Just because you're rich doesn't mean you're rich in health. All right. So what it say? Um, The engineers, advertisers, and executives behind the systems are overwhelmingly shaped by Western frameworks of power and aesthetics. Consequently, the algorithm's reward system mirrors society's racial hierarchy, uplifting content that comforts the mainstream while marginalizing content that challenges it. All right. We all know a lot of these white people not trying to challenge the fucking system. All right. Stevie Wonder can see that shit. All right. White people just they conform, all right, because it works for them. They don't have really a need or a reason to really challenge anything. If I'm fucking white and I'm benefiting off of just the systems being as they are, why the fuck do I gotta challenge shit? Right? I keep my fucking mouth shut and just live my life, right? So they don't have a foot in the fucking race, all right? So they're not going to be the ones that are going to really speak out against certain things. Some will, but they're outliers, all right? They're not the fucking order of the day. But black folks got every fucking reason to speak up and to really advocate and educate the youth and the children on what the fuck is going on, all right? Because the schools ain't gonna teach you because they're removing that shit out the school books, right? So you don't think these motherfuckers don't know that? And a lot of black people on YouTube, they're crying, oh, my viewers are going down, oh, my viewership. It's because you're a fucking nigga and they know you're a threat to the system and the agenda, all right? In their mind, we don't know what the fuck you're going to talk about that we don't agree with, or like right now you're on a good track, but who's to say we don't pay you motherfuckers and you start to rebel? So of course they're going to put a tight grip on you when you got the judges that are striking down lawsuits that on the surface, they need to really take a look into this shit. But even I told you guys in my videos before, the system is dominated by Europeans, all right? Fucking white people dominate the CIA. I gave you the percentages. I gave you the fucking numbers. They dominate the FBI. They dominate the police force. They dominate Congress, all right? You think these motherfuckers ain't on code when the niggas coming up trying to make accusations? You think they're not all on the same fucking page? Come on, man. Sometimes this shit pisses me off how stupid and dumbed down and how fucking weak, even grown ass men. That's why I don't really need any friends because y'all motherfuckers too weak, all right? You afraid. You live in fear. In the Bible, it says we have the spirit of power, love, and the sound mind. Motherfucker, power. All right. It don't matter what your race is. If you got that Holy Spirit, what the fuck are you afraid of? You got the power of God in you. All right. You motherfuckers walk around with your dick between your legs. You're fucking scared and you're conformist. And that's why shit doesn't change. All right. It pisses me off. And you're calling yourself a damn Christian. You're fucking weak. All right. So uplifting content that comforts the mainstream while marginalizing content that challenges it. When the metrics of success reflect the values of the dominant group, all right, the metrics of success reflect the values of the dominant group. Creators who speak truth to power become algorithmically exiled. Their digital invisibility is not accidental, it is systemic curation masked as neutrality, maintaining control while denying accountability. Despite this, there are creators and thinkers who act as modern prophets, light bearers. All right. What does the fucking light do? It exposes when your ass is in the dark, you're bumping into shit, you're hitting your shoulder, you're hitting your funny bone, you're fucking doing a Harlem shake trying to navigate the room. But when you got the light on, it exposes, right? You're able to see. All right. So you have people who are able to, who are light bearers. I'm a light bearer. Like I said, I don't give a fuck if they remove the YouTube channel or not. Bitch, I'm rich. All right. I'm fucking rich. I'm living in $1 million house and God gave me this. I didn't ask for this shit. So I don't need YouTube for nothing. All right. God gave me everything I'm needed. And I got a father in heaven. He owns all this shit. All right. So I don't give a fuck about YouTube, and I work for myself. All right. I'm a fucking man. All right. So I didn't come on here to be on the titty of YouTube. All right. I came on here to fucking teach. So whether they remove this account or not, I don't give a fuck. All right. So despite this, there are creators and thinkers who act as modern prophets, light bearers who expose the hidden architecture of bias beneath the veneer of data-driven objectivity. They speak with courage, exposing inequities that corporations prefer to hide. But in doing so, they become victims of algorithmic suppression, flagged for controversial topics, shadow banned, or stripped of monetization. Their existence reveals a deeper truth that systems of control evolved to preserve dominance not by silencing dissent outright, but by burying it under layers of invisibility, technical jargon, and selective enforcement. All right. So the result is an invisible violence where creators of color, right, these black folks, activists, and truth tellers must adapt to survive. They learn to play the game, right? Curating their tone, visuals, and vocabulary to satisfy algorithmic comfort levels. All right. In this process, authenticity is traded for visibility. I'm going to say it again. Authenticity is traded for visibility, and truth becomes a negotiable currency. Meanwhile, white creators who engage in equally controversial or harmful behavior, right, often receive lighter penalties or none at all. This asymmetry reinforces the message that belonging requires assimilation, that to be seen, minorities must distort themselves into something palatable to whiteness. This is how digital white supremacy hides in plain sight. All right. So I have a 25-point analysis. I'm not going to be able to get to all the 25 points. You know why? Because I have a fucking real job. All right. My life doesn't revolve around YouTube algorithms, these sort of hidden, subtle fucking tactics that the enemy uses to keep you motherfuckers conform to at sucking YouTube's dick, right? Where you can't really talk, you can't be yourself, you can't talk about shit that matters, right? So I don't dance for motherfuckers, all right? I'm a 2 combat veteran, all right, with the Marines, the Navy, all right. I put in the fucking work, so I got a real job, all right. But when I come back, I'll speak to this. So a 25-point analysis, right? Why algorithms are about power. The conversation about algorithmic bias is not simply about technology. It's about who gets to define truth in digital empire. When algorithms decide visibility, they act as modern day colonizers of perception. All right. These damn algorithms are like the modern day colonizers. Every click, ranking, and monetization rule becomes an act of control, determining whose story becomes history and whose becomes digital noise. The question of bias, therefore, is a question of digital sovereignty. Who owns the light and who decides who can shine under it? All right. Algorithmic gatekeeping defined. Algorithmic gatekeeping refers to how recommendation systems control the flow of information under the guise of efficiency. These systems decide what videos you see, whose content trends, and what voices fade away. Unlike traditional censorship, this control operates invisibly. Who the fuck knows who controls the algorithm? You don't got a face you can point to, right? And what does it do? It gives you motherfucker psychosis. You're paranoid. There's an invisible. That's what a lot of these white supremacists and elitists like to do. They fucking hide. All right. The devil's weak, motherfucker. All right. You don't give the devil all this credit like he's just the all powerful fucking bad guy. He's nothing, right? Who the fuck is evil and hides? All right. You got righteous people who got more power and balls than the devil, right? Who can just stand up and fucking fight, right? The devil is a fucking coward. All right. He puts all these different tactics out here, have you all fucked up mentally, have you insecure, you're challenging your worth as a black content creator, your fucking content is gold, but the algorithm is twisting up your shit. And what are you doing? You're beating yourself up. You're on the fucking internet crying, right? So that's what they want you motherfuckers to do, all right? So don't think that white supremacy hasn't touched the fucking YouTube, Google algorithms, all right? This shit, that's why I don't put all my bank. I'm waiting for these motherfuckers to close this account, all right? I'm waiting for it, all right? That's why I knew this shit ahead of time. That's why I waited so long to get on YouTube. I know what fucking enemy I'm dealing with, all right? So I'm not looking for a dime from these motherfuckers, all right? But what really matters to me, what's really of value is validating a lot of you black content creators and even white people who are speaking up against the bullshit. They get blacklisted too, right? But really validating you guys that you're not alone. I'm seeing what the fuck is going on too, all right? So unlike traditional censorship, this control operates invisibly, hidden behind code and data. It's a gate without a visible guard, which makes it more powerful because the oppressed can't always name the force that erases them, right? And this invisibility, supremacy thrives. That's where fucking white supremacy and all these different cultures who align with these motherfuckers, that's where they get so much of their strength. They're faceless, right? They hide behind algorithms, codes, data, companies, brands. That's what these motherfuckers do, And then they poke at you, right? They throw all this racist shit out. They put racist clothes out, all this crazy shit. They blacklist your channel, block your shit, and you don't have anybody to go to, right? It's a powerless situation for black folks, all right? And people who are aligned with just doing the right fucking thing, all right? It's not just black people. So metrics as moral systems, right? The metrics are the moral systems, right? Metrics like watch time and engagement pretend to be neutral, but they reward emotional manipulation, sensationalism, and conformity, all right, to Western ideals of beauty, tone, and civility, right? So they create a moral economy, not based on truth, but on profitability and comfort. This moral framework punishes righteous anger, raw emotion, and cultural authenticity, particularly when it's expressed by non-white creators. Thus, the algorithm becomes both judge and preacher, rewarding assimilation and punishing divergence. So who sets the metrics? The engineers, data scientists, and advertisers who shape these algorithms are not detached observers, okay? They bring with them personal histories, cultural biases, and unconscious frameworks inherited from the society that trained them. Most of these decision makers are white or Western educated elites who unconsciously calibrate normal, quote unquote, through the lens of whiteness, all right? When the metric makers share a common cultural background, their technology inevitably reflects their world view, all right? Maintaining a quiet digital hierarchy that mirrors real world power. All right. Algorithms are not written in a vacuum. They are written with assumptions about what good content looks like. When those assumptions align with dominant cultural tastes, creators from marginalized groups are automatically disadvantaged. A passionate tone might be flagged as aggressive. Cultural dialects may be read as unprofessional. The code learns from biased data, and the bias becomes policy. In this way, white supremacy evolves into mathematical form, a digital DNA that repeats the sins of history in every search result. Recommendation systems were designed to keep users online longer, but they also reinforce what people already believe. This creates ideological ghettos, feeding users content that matches existing biases. As a result, narratives critical of whiteness or capitalism are less likely to appear, not because they lack truth, but because they disrupt profitable comfort zones. The echo chamber doesn't just isolate thought, it insulates privilege, creating digital bubbles that feel objective but are profoundly political. All right. Man, I'm just getting started. Studies show how YouTube algorithms once guided users from moderate political content toward extreme right wing material. This wasn't accidental. The system learned that outrage keeps people watching. In this way, the algorithm becomes a silent recruiter, rewarding racial division for profit. Meanwhile, anti racist content or decolonial critique rarely receives similar visibility. The machine's moral compass points towards profit, not justice, and it drags millions towards hate while claiming neutrality. All right. Creators who challenge dominant power structures, whether through anti racist education, historical truth telling, or systemic critique, often experience suppression that isn't announced. All right. Their views stagnate, the comments start to disappear, and monetization is revoked without explanation. The platform doesn't need to censor when it can bury you. This invisibility operates as digital erasure, erasing not by violence, but by silence, ensuring that truth dies quietly under the weight of obscurity. And don't think these white folks ain't telling. They some fucking tellers. Yeah, you motherfuckers are. You've been telling since I was in the Marine Corps. You've been telling before I joined the fucking Marines. You are some fucking tellers. And what do? You go off and do some of the same fuck shit you're over here pointing the finger at black people for, and you're the reporters. You're the fucking ones that you have time to ruin fucking people's careers. You white people do. You nasty ones. You righteous believers. The ones that are doing the right thing, that are patient, that are kind and long suffering. I'm not talking about you, right? But you motherfuckers that are nasty and you ain't got shit to do but ruin content creators' legacy, ruin their source of income. I'm not hating on people who try to make income off of YouTube, but you black folks need to understand what fucking beast you're dealing with. All right. YouTube is just not no innocent child in this situation. All right. They're a part of the structure of fucking racial hierarchy as well. All right. They just manipulate it through algorithm and data. All this shit is linguistics. All right. But you white folks know who the fuck I'm talking about. You got time to go up there and report accounts and report everybody. You motherfuckers are the best reporters, all right? Report me, motherfucker. It's not going to stop what I'm doing, all right? I'm blessed, all right? All this shit works for my good, like it's been doing. You won't be the first and you won't be the last, all right? So praying for a lot of you black content creators, man, you younger people who are getting on these platforms and you're thinking that they're so innocent, right? I can just go in here and be my black self and do what everybody else is doing and I won't be touched. I'll be all right, Randy. I'm following the rules. I'm a good old boy. No, motherfucker, you're not. All right. You're not. All right. They look at anybody, even if you don't open up your fucking mouth, if you don't even look the part, all right, you're a threat to the system. That's how sensitive and how sophisticated this shit is, all right? Wake the fuck up. You black content creators, you women, you men, have some pride and some love for your culture, for your fucking people, all right? Not all black people are fucking beasts and animals and haters and evil. You got some good ass black people out here, all right? A lot of times what it is you black folks are so ashamed of being black, right? So you buy into this propaganda and shit. Love yourself, all right? I ain't got a whole lot of time, but I wish I did. But you get the message. I got some more I'm gonna talk about, on this as soon as I get some time. But I gotta fucking work, all right? And I'm my own boss, all right, motherfuckers, all right? Peace.